Khamzt, Colby, Usman. Something's happening there that can't be ignored for long. And if you want to ignore it, like if you're one of those three guys and you want to ignore it, okay, great. What do you ignore it to? Leon? Leon's as hard as anything I just said. Colby, Kamaru, Khamzt Chimaev, Leon. Go ahead, throw Leon in there. But this is murderer's row. You're talking about out of the frying pan and into the fryer, right? What do you want to do? All right, let's break this down. I only bring up Khamzt Chimaev because Colby just brought him up. Colby said, man, I don't even know what a Khamzt Chimaev is. And he said, if you're telling me it's a fighter in my division, tell me a ranked fighter that he's beat. And I get what Colby's point is, and so do you guys, right? Of course, he studies the field, but you get his point. His point is, don't bring him up to me. I'm the number one contender. Don't ask me about guys. I'm the number one contender. Ask me about champions. I get Colby's point. I know Chimaev is really good, not because of what I've seen on TV, but because I talked to Jake Ellenberger, who saw Chimaev in a training room, and he told me some stories. Okay, great. How good is he? Are we talking about Kamaru Usman good? And I asked Ellenberger this, and Ellenberger, he kind of hem and hawed, and I cut him off. That's enough. If you even have to think if a guy is as good as Kamaru, that answers my question, right? I don't now need a yes or no. You've answered my question. He's in that field. This is a very elite field. We know Colby's in that. He's the number one contender. He's beaten multiple world champions. Robbie Lawler comes to mind. T. Wood comes to mind. He was the world champion. Defeated RDA to get that comes to mind. Right, he's only lost this one fight, which is we know Colby's there. Then you got Usman. And these guys all prefer to grapple. Even though Colby and Kamaru grappled none and put on a fantastic, dirty brawl. We know they're grappling heavy. So then you just have the fun questions, right? Before you even get to the matches, who's the best grappler? Who's the best grappler once you get to the ground? Well, who's the best? Right, because wrestling is just about getting to the ground. Grappling is what happens once you get to the ground. And is that about submissions, or is that about reversals, or is it about sweeps and stamps? There's all sorts of ways to answer it, but it opens up a dialogue. You guys want to know something? You want to know when I knew that Kamaru Usman was good? You want to know when this was? I'm not talking about effective, by the way. I'm not talking about skilled. I'm not even talking about a champion. I'm talking about good. Just the word good. Because there's not a ton of fighters you could use that for, and maybe I'm inserting myself into that. Good, I don't know about good. I don't know about back and forth and skill and seeing. It was chaos. The second the refs said go, it was pure chaos until it was over. Kamaru Usman is fighting Colby Covington. Come out, they're fighting. Boom, boom. Colby pokes him in the eye. Referee sees it. Referee stops it. Usman's fixing the eye. Guy shakes it off. Okay, they restart the fight. They come out. Boom. Kamaru pokes him right in the eye. Kamaru might not admit this, but it's on video. Kamaru poked him right in the eye on purpose. I've never seen a guy poke a guy in the eye on purpose. And we've all seen Chuck do it 20 times. We've seen John Jones do it with the long arms and the open hands. And right, it's just going to happen as they're in the face. Kamaru comes out. And you want to know why I've never seen anybody do it on purpose? By the way, do you want to know why? You can't do it. There's not an athlete out there that's good enough to do it. There's not one of us that's good enough to do it. You guys see this on TV and you might have an opinion. Go find a heavy bag. Go find a heavy bag and just punch it. Just punch that isn't even moving. Just punch that heavy bag. You might be surprised that you miss. You might hyperextend your elbow because you throw a punch and you will miss that. Hey, go, what? I thought it was, I guess I got to step in 2 inches. Like learning range, you have to learn range. You will have one of two experiences. If you go find a heavy bag that isn't even moving, you try to punch it, you're either going to miss that bag or you're going to get stopped right here. I'm too close. You'll be too far, you'll be too close. You'll be one of them. You will not, boom, reach that bag right at the end of your punch on your first time. It will not happen. Just trust me, it just won't happen. This is something you have to learn. Now imagine that heavy bag swinging, okay? Now imagine that heavy bag isn't a heavy bag. It's the second best fighter in the world, and his name's Colby. Right? I mean, imagine Kamaru Usman came out and poked him right there. And you should have seen the look on Kamaru's face. Kamaru was trying to keep a straight face like a poker hand. I mean, they were in Vegas after all. He was so happy with himself. He knew, you poked me in the eye, now I poked you, and guess what, partner? We're good. You were good. You want to continue this little thing? And they did. One of them gave a low blow, and the other, and I can't remember, I'd have to go back and watch, but one of them kicked one of them in the nuts, and the other one came out and returned the favor. This was the dirtiest fight ever. But you want to know when I knew how good Usman is? It was when he's the only person I know who could take a finger and put it in somebody's eye who's moving and coming at him and trying to hurt him. It was one of these moments. It's one of these moments. I realize it's not a situation that should be celebrated. I'm just sharing with you, when you're sitting there breaking down who's the toughest and who's the better, and if they were grappling, what about this situation? You just want to talk about who's apparently really goddamn good. You got to consider Usman, and you got to see what I'm talking. I mean, he knows, by the way. I don't think he'd deny this. He'd probably laugh if he heard me say this, but I might be the first one that's ever actually called it out. And you see this in the look on his face. When he got poked in the eye, oh, he was hurt. He was frustrated. He poked him in the eye. Whoo! It was like, all right, we're even. Let's start the fight from now, unless you want to keep on doing this. It was like you should have seen this look on the Nightmare's face. It was one of these things. So I bring this to you because I do think that Colby's right. I think this Khamzt Chimaev talk as it pertains to Usman, as it pertains to Colby, I think it's premature. It seems to me it's extremely obvious that it's Colby and it's Usman. It seems to me. That is the hardest, closest, dirtiest, best fight I have ever witnessed. And the only reason it's been put off is because of false narrative that Colby had a jaw broke, which wasn't even true. Now, I bring it to you because Usman does have other options. Things are very different for Usman now. We cannot expect Usman to have to follow the same protocols when he's doing a redo. He's going through guys a second time. That's different. It is different, whether we like it or not. If he had never fought Covington, and Covington was the true contender, we could all stand up and say, you're a closet champion. When he's going through everybody a second time, he gets a little bit of room. Now, he doesn't have a whole lot of choices. Does he want to go into Colby? Does he want to go in and see how Leon does? I don't know. We haven't heard from Kamaru. I don't know. I could call him and ask him. I'd rather talk about it behind his back because I have more to discuss, but that seems to be the dialogue. But I think that of everything we've heard, I do think Colby's right. I don't believe that Chimaev is going to end up in a championship or an eliminator fight next. But where does he go? There was talk of Chimaev and Leon. I was very interested in that at the time. I'm still interested in that. And there's some moving parts here, right? For the example, the fact that Leon has got a guy named Nate Diaz about to stand across from him, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves. I just don't think that Colby was wrong to be dismissive of not only a fighter who's not ranked above him, but a fighter that's not ranked at all.